Okay, so this will be my final little rant thingy about Final Fantasy II. I'm kind of trying to get to a good screen where it's kind of like, you know, shutting up. Where's a nice quiet screen? What is this one? Oh my god. Oh my god, way back at the Rebel hideout? Yikes, this is an old save. My goodness. Okay. Really quick, I'm just gonna turn down the sound a little bit. Hold on. Okay, now I know the sound is really quiet here, but I just kind of wanted some background music while I wax exponentially about what was good about Final Fantasy II. Number one, something that was really good about Final Fantasy II, at least this version anyway. I don't know about the original, so I'm not going to talk about the original. I'm just going to talk about what was presented in this game. I really liked the music. The music was very well composed, as I've said before. Another thing that I liked is that characters seemed quite a bit more fleshed out than previously. In Final Fantasy I, they really did seem like, okay, well, we're just kind of like, good luck, warriors, we're villagers, we don't know how to do anything. No. In this one, the villagers actually helped you out, and in this case, like Yosef actually joined your party. Minwoo joined your party. You had people who were more experienced than you. You had people who were less experienced than you. You had the whole Dark Knight thing, where you were supposed to not find out that Kent was the Dark Knight, but in this case we knew, and that was kind of a more, like, tragic thing of, oh, you know, when is he going to be not brainwashed? When is he actually going to snap out of it? And how is he going to react when he snaps out of it? And the way they handled it was actually pretty interesting, that it's not fully resolved. He obviously still has ties to the Empire and wants to be in a position of power, but he did set aside his lust for power to acknowledge that, oh crap, we got a Hellspawn Emperor on our hands, we gotta take care of this. So I really like that. That's a good relationship. That's a complex relationship. That's not a pure happy moment. I mean, shoot, the game begins on a very unhappy moment of these kids. And by the way, I did go back and look. I think it was the Black Knight, or the Black Horses thingy, whatever it was, that killed us in the first fight. So I'm pretty sure about that. So shit, I mean, you start on a supposed to lose fight, and one of your party members gets kicked out for like 90% of the game that you named. You named this character and he gets kicked out for 90% of the game. That's pretty ballsy. Now what I didn't like about Final Fantasy II, and I'll go back to the stuff that I really liked in a second. I just wanted to get this stuff that I didn't like about Final Fantasy II. I guess you could say I liked and disliked the leveling system because it was very relaxed in the point where I didn't know exactly where I was supposed to be. I mean, normally when you play an RPG game and you say, oh, I'm at level, 36, or I'm at level 42, you can pretty much, on a scale of 1 to 100, you know where you kind of are on the scale. Even if it's kind of skewed, like in Super Mario RPG, you can beat the game. I think the max level is like 50 or something, so you can beat the game pretty easily on level like 26, maybe 30 at the max, if my memory serves me correctly. It's a pretty low level for an RPG game. But then this one is pretty interesting because it is purely dependent on your, like, even your armor, I like, is that it's not straight up just defense and offense. It is evasiveness, and you can dual wield things. I really like that. That's pretty inventive, at least for the time anyway. I don't know how much they carried over from the original Final Fantasy II to this one, but if they only changed the sprites and some of the dialogues around, then I am highly impressed with this as an NES game, very much so, and I am very disappointed that we didn't get this as a release over here until, Game Boy Advance game. But I think if they did release it for the NES over here, I think they would have to make a more simplified leveling system. Maybe keep the same kind of, like, the more you use it system, but make it a little bit more, I don't know, not easier to use, but make it a little bit more obvious. Like, make it, I don't know, maybe add in some useless NPCs to say, hey, you're using your magic, or, hey, I was using my magic a lot, and, I leveled up, just something really obvious for those of us that are, like, kind of confused, used to the normal RPG kind of system. Getting back to what I really liked the characters, like, Yosef was really good. I loved all the deaths in this. There was a ton of deaths in this. I couldn't believe how many deaths there was in this. It seemed like you knew whoever was in the fourth spot was going to get axed at some point. I mean, when Minwoo, I thought he was going to survive for a little bit, but no, he's dead. Just everybody, except for Lakitu. Lakitu's the only one. And I like that, though, because she was a strong individual where she led the army while we were away. She led the rebels. I liked the death of Scott, where that forced Gordon to step up. That was really good. You could have easily just had Gordon be the cowardly brother who died, and then Scott had to step up, because of his little brother who died. But no, you actually had Gordon grow as a character. I really liked that. But what I did not like about this was some of the direction. I think it's weird, though. In some cases, it's really, really, really obvious where you're supposed to go. Like, they tell you specifically who you're supposed to talk to. And other times, it seemed like the narration of where you're exactly supposed to go could be quite easily mistranslated of where exactly what circumstances. Like with the Wyvern thing. How the heck was I supposed to know to go use the pendant on the mirror? I mean, did Ricard ever say, like, oh, my great-great-grandfather used to live in a castle in Finn, and he spoke of an ancient mirror that if he ever needed it for an emergency, that kind of thing would be like, oh, okay. But, I mean, maybe I just missed something, but that seems really arbitrary to me. I mean, I was going for a long shot, even just going back to, that wife and the orphan kid to see if the Wyvern was there. That was a long shot, and I'm just like, what else could it be? And that's why I went so low to actually think that it must be there, because I couldn't think of anything else. I was trying to think logically about the information that was presented to me, and I feel that in that instance, the information presented to me was not sufficient enough for me to connect that you're supposed to go and use the freaking pendant with the magic mirror. Just that was the big dislike for that. The final boss, you should make a final boss pretty hard, but man, that final boss was malicious. But in another way, he is from hell, so you can't allow him to be malicious. And just all the enemies in that last, well, not all the enemies, but like the Death Rider and the Mithril Golem, so mean, so terrifically mean. And that's one thing that turns me off about this game, is it's very mean at times, and I think very cruel, and it's nice that it doesn't hold your hand in that way, but in another way, it's unwelcome. I think that it could have been a little bit warmer. So those are the main things that I really liked the character of Guy. Felix and Maria were kind of meh, but Guy was definitely our comic relief with the whole beaver thing. That was great. Liked all the environments, liked all the different sprite changes. Liked the Emperor. You thought that he was just a wimp and he died, and now, oh shit, we gotta go fight the Black Knight, the Dark Knight, whatever. He's gotta be the new final boss, and then, no, the Emperor's back. That was a great twist. I couldn't believe that. I think this was the perfect length, especially for a Game Boy, especially for an NES game. This was a long game. At least when I was going through it and messing up and all that, but even then, I think this was definitely a very good game. I would have to go even maybe as far as to say that a lot of it, I mean a lot of it, was severely improved from the first Final Fantasy game. Definitely character and story-wise, by far. This actually has the good feeling of a good RPG story. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of fun characters. Maybe they all could have been fleshed out a little bit more, maybe they could have been given a little bit more personality, but comparing the first game to this game, it is unbelievable how much of a change it is, and how much better it is, and how many more enemies there are in general. Just, the whole thing is a vast improvement. If I did have to carry over one thing from the beginning, though, like from the first game, I would have to say... Oh, what did I really like about the first game that they didn't have in this game? I think they really could have had more funny villagers. That's one thing that I would have liked. There was not as much... I don't know, in Final Fantasy 1, there was that one guy who's just saying, I'm a farmer. That was great! I don't need to know anything more about him, he's just a farmer. But admittedly, though, this old man in the corner over there, he was pretty funny. Like, why are you coming back to me and all that? So they did try to put in humor, but I just don't think... Maybe it just didn't have the simplicity of the first game. I don't know. I did kind of like the boss designs of the first game a little bit more. Maybe it's just because they're a little bit more iconic. I don't know. I really liked Borgin. That guy, he was actually... You know, I take back what I say about being funny. Borgin was really fun and really funny. I really liked him. Just, yeah, the whole thing. I really have to applaud Final Fantasy II. Very, very good game. A little bit confusing at times, a little bit kind of at times, but still a growing improvement. I really liked it. I really liked the final boss. I really liked the setting for the final boss. And I really liked that he wasn't just a blank... He wasn't just an enemy for, like, an ally of chaos. This guy, he wasn't just going to throw the world into chaos. He was going to throw the world into malicious chaos. He was going to throw the world into pain. He wanted everybody to die. I didn't really get the feeling that Chaos from the first game wanted everybody to die. I just think he wanted the world order to be thrown into, you know, disarray. I didn't really feel like he wanted to blow up the world or anything like that. Maybe he wanted the whole universe to be chaotic, but I really didn't get the feeling that, at least not as strong with this guy. This guy was pure evil. Chaos, at least, was neutral chaos, you know, just whatever may be will be as long as it's chaos. This guy, though, the Emperor, he had a conscious will to do evil, pure evil. The Fiends, yeah, they're wrecking the earth, but, you know, that's just... It's not direct pain towards humans. They're just doing it towards the elements. If we could live in those environments, we wouldn't have a problem. This guy, he doesn't want us to live with anything but his fist on our... or his boot on our necks. The Emperor was just... ooh. Really, really good. I do wish, though, we could have gone a little bit more into, like, why the Emperor wanted what he wanted. But in this case, he was just a tyrant, and really, it's a simple motivation for a simple character, and a very simple emotion for the end. And I think sometimes that the simplest emotions are the strongest, so being a simple villain isn't necessarily a bad thing. At least not in this case. I think Chaos may have been a bit too simple, but in this case, the final boss was definitely given more motivation. And you did actually have him as a consistent enemy throughout the game, so there was good build-up. With Final Fantasy 1, there wasn't really a big build-up. You just kind of like, okay, I'm off fighting 4 fiends, the whole world seems to be kind of fucked up. Let's go find out why. Let's go find the fiends that are doing this and stop it. And this one, no, you see wrecked villages, you see people dying before you. And I thought that was really good. I actually had a reason to hate the Emperor. So... I would say Final Fantasy 1, definitely more iconic, definitely more memorable. But this game, while playing it, I don't think this game will stick in my mind as much as Final Fantasy 1, just because, you know, it was the first Final Fantasy. But for a sequel, I think this was really good. If they kept all the stuff from, like, if what I just played was the NES Classic. If the NES Classic for this was the same... This would have been an astounding game to have on your NES. This would have been, like, the shit, man. Especially a story this long. I mean, I don't know what they added, didn't add, took away. But either way, very impressed. And I hope you guys had a good time, too. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this last little rant. And I really enjoyed the characters of Felix, Maria, Guy. And, I think the only person that the only 2 people that I renamed were Felix and Kent. I think Maria and Guy are the same. I'm pretty sure. I think Felix had a weird F name at the beginning, and I didn't really like it, so I changed it to Felix. But I'm looking forward to the next Final Fantasy game. I don't exactly know what it's going to be. I'm going to let this project breathe a little. I'm going to start up some new projects. And I really hope you guys will enjoy the next Final Fantasy. I'm thinking of going back to the NES, and the next one's going to be a tricky one. because I think it was only released in Japan, and I got to get it like a Japanese translation pack. So we might be going back to the NES emulator next time, and then we'll get into the real Final Fantasy IV and the real Final Fantasy V and 6 and then 7 and 8 and then 9. And I'm not touching 10. I actually own it. I bought it at a flea market. I bought 10 and 10-2 at a flea market, and I'm going to play them for my own personal enjoyment, I'll say, to see how bad they are. I am not going to record them because, I'm sorry, I'm sticking with the Final Fantasies where they do not talk. I do not want to hear them talk because I don't like getting interrupted. I interrupt myself enough. I get interrupted by the music and the monsters and the creatures and just getting wrapped up in the moment. I don't need freaking Titus to be interrupting me with his stupid laugh. I've seen his laugh. It horrifies me. So I really don't need moments like that interrupting me. It's at least not in Final Fantasy. So we'll see. We'll see where Final Fantasy goes. And I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. I know I enjoyed this a lot, especially this last recording session. So guys, until the next Final Fantasy, until the next recording session, until the next time I just see you in general, I hope you guys have a great day. I know I've been having a great day. My voice is killing me though. I'm going to be sore in the morning. But you know what? It'll be a good sore. Because I know that I put my voice to good use today. Anyway, I've been the Invisible Gunslinger. You and me, Felix, Maria, Guy, and Kent, we all did our best, and we beat the Emperor. Give yourselves a pat on the back for getting this far, for joining me through this entire journey. Thank you so much. Can't thank you guys enough. And I really hope you guys enjoy the projects that are coming up. But until those projects, I've been the Invisible Gunslinger. You guys have been my great audience, as always. You know, I talk a lot about, like, being... well, the whole last part where I was talking about my own personal demons of, like, being afraid of doing the wrong thing. And that's only because I know that you guys watch me so often. And you guys give me so much support that I really don't want to mess up for you guys. But I can't help it sometimes. I am imperfect, and I do apologize for my imperfections. And I hope you'll forgive me for that. But I just got to learn to live with it. And I hope you guys can live without me for a while, because I don't know when the next time I can record is, since school and work and all that. But anyway, so I've rambled on it long enough. Just, I hope you guys enjoyed Final Fantasy II. I sure did, and I will talk to you guys in the next project. So until then, guys, I've been the Invisible Gunslinger. Thank you guys again. Ta-ta for now. And good beavering. See you later. Bye, guys.